By now, you've heard of the violent passing of Charlie Kirk. And let me just get this out of the way right at the beginning. Political assassinations are wrong. It doesn't matter if you agree with somebody, if you hate what they say. Part of living in a society like America or Canada, where they have the Constitution and we have the Charter, is that you have to deal with people saying things that you don't like. You have that right, and they have that right. They probably don't like what you say. Resorting to violence does not solve anything, and it isn't necessary. Certainly not in this part of the world that we live in. So whoever did this, the suspect that they have in custody, allegedly Tyler Robinson, they fucked up. They have thrown half the world into chaos because they chose to take a man's life. I don't like the guy, Charlie. I was never a fan of his for obvious reasons. But I can still say that his death was wrong, shouldn't have happened. The guy has a right to be as much of an asshole as he wants to be. He was a proponent of free speech. I don't know if he practiced it all that well, but whatever. Whether or not he did doesn't really impact how I should act or how you should. So I just wanted to get that out of the way right in the beginning. You guys know that I'm a left-leaning person. I'm not going to condone this, though. This opens the door for the stuff to blow right back onto you. Anyhow, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's dive into the video. So much has happened in the wake of his passing, and it was very difficult to sift through. We wanted to put this video out a few days ago, but it was impossible to keep track of the story. They have the guy, they don't have the guy. There's patsies on the scene, like decoys or something. Israel's involved somehow. He's trans. He's dating a trans person. He's not. He's on the right. He's more out. It was madness. People were running with gossip and presenting it like it was news, and that's just the world we live in right now. So we wanted to wait and see if the dust would settle. And waiting has just really plunged us deeper into confusion, if I can be completely honest. So we're going to go through what we know about the thing, and we're going to go through some of the insane reactions coming out of right-wing America that I think should cause concern for everybody, Canadians included. Canadians were really impacted by this. There were vigils for Charlie Kirk all across the country. People showed up, said kind words, had pictures of him, lit candles. I mean, the guy was well liked here by a lot of people. The vigils were in mainly places like Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and those are pretty conservative places. My message to Canadians in America: zip it, zip it. Don't say anything about the man if it's not kind, because the crackdowns that are happening, and we're going to get into that, are draconian. Now, what happened that day? The person that's in custody right now is a young man named Tyler Robinson. He's 22. He is a white male from Utah. And you can make a lot of assumptions about that because it's a big Mormon community over there. His parents are Mormon. It looked like it was just some right-wing disgruntled kid who does this kind of thing. I mean, it's an epidemic in the States. I did a little bit of research. There's actually, to this day, September 17th, around 147 school shootings that have happened in America. If you adjust for holidays and weekends, you pretty much have a school shooting every single weekday. And that's terrifying. So, when that information came out about who he was, where he was from, a lot of people, including myself, made some assumptions. Oh gosh, here comes another right winger. But then there's wrenches thrown into the story. People were saying that either he's trans or he has a trans girlfriend, and we're going to get into that. But let's get into what happened that day. Tyler Robinson, again, well-off family, Mormon family from Utah, two-parent household, went to college, dropped out. The story of millions of young men in America, just super basic stuff. But he had a grudge with Charlie Kirk. And there are some videos that we saw where his mom is sort of demonstrating to the world, look how deeply obsessed my son is with gaming and stuff. And she's filming him obsessively staring at his phone. And she's like, Tyler, talk to me. And he's just like, go away, I'm on my phone. And she's like, oh my God, what can I do? That's based on that video and no other evidence. I'm assuming that this kid was just perpetually online, and he has the kind of parents that may have just relinquished the duty of raising their kid to the internet, because obviously he was radicalized somehow. Anyhow, that young little loner grows up, and on the morning of September 10th, makes his way over to Utah Valley University. He gets there at around 8:29 a.m., and he starts lurking around the campus. Reports say he's wearing a plain maroon t-shirt, Light colored shorts, light colored shoes, a black hat with a white logo. But later he changes into dark colored clothing and he's seen on campus wearing dark colored clothes before the actual act takes place. So while lurking through the campus, through stairwells, he makes his way up to a roof that's positioned across from where Charlie is scheduled to appear. He makes his way up to that roof, finds himself a position, and waits. And at 12:23 p.m., the shot goes off that takes Charlie Kirk's life in front of thousands of people, including his wife and kids. And that's one of the worst parts of this entire thing. The kids were there and they saw it. I don't wish that on anyone. I don't wish that on anyone. Not only are they orphaned, they're traumatized. And not only is that woman widowed, she was widowed in a violent way that she had to witness, probably can't even cope with her own grief, has to think about the kids saw that too. Just brutal. Okay, so let's pause at the 12:23 p.m. mark. The shot is fired. Everyone sees it. Multiple videos come out. If you went online after hearing the news, you definitely would have just seen it happen. Twitter ain't shit, first of all, okay? They just showed that to me. No warning, no nothing. I just went online and I just scrolled, shot. Come on, man. Luckily, I'm desensitized because it's been 2 years of a genocide in Gaza, but that was still very unpleasant. Anyhow, I'm going to pivot to some other news that came out. Now we have some text messages, allegedly, between the girlfriend of Tyler and Tyler himself after he's done the deed. He's on campus kind of freaking out. He's done it and he's trying to make a getaway. So let's pivot to that. Here are the messages. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. She goes to look under the keyboard and there's a note. The note says, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. Stop right there. The amount of people whose lives are just being plunged into utter disarray because of this little prick, I could not be the one to get that message. Okay? You know that feeling you get when your partner messages you oh, we need to talk, and your heart just oh, this is the worst outcome of that scenario. They respond, what? With a bunch of question marks. You're joking, right? I am still okay, my love, he replies. But I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Orem is the city or town in Utah where the university is. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? Question marks. I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No. They grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah. I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. He hasn't seen anything about them finding it. Hold on to that. How long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't really have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope that they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing this to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? Question mark. The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh on Fox News, I might have a stroke, all right? I'm gonna have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think it was a 2K scope. Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now. I'm not answering. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. I'm much more worried about you. So there was no response for all that stuff. Okay. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. That's the smartest thing he said. Now, this is what's been released. You tell me if this sounds like a 22-year-old. To me, it does not. So he puts memes on the bullets. I'm sure you guys have heard the news. You know that there was a bunch of stuff engraved on the bullets. We'll go over what those things were. At some points, he's using abbreviations like I don't even know, where he uses IDEK instead. A bunch of dots. But the beginning of it was pretty grammatically correct. I mean, even then, it's okay, whatever. A young guy talking about his dad like my old man. Is that how they do it in Utah? I don't know. I did watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I watched that show, and I didn't hear anybody calling anybody my old man, but maybe that's how they do it in Orem. It's okay. And then I should have circled back to my vehicle, not your car. Okay. Such formality in some places and such. Okay. Just somebody actually went online and said, put this in this exchange into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said, yeah, it's fake. I'm not saying that says anything. I just thought that was funny because it looks like it is. And it probably definitely is. But maybe it's not, because I'm not saying anything. I don't want the FBI to say I said anything. I want to go back to something I said hold on to. He says, if I see notices bulges or ooh on Fox News, then I'm done. This guy is following the news with us. When we all heard the news and went to Twitter or Instagram or wherever, TikTok, to see like what had happened, he was doing the same thing. That's just weird, man. We're all like, the whole world is just like online, like, oh my God, what's happening? And reading this, reading that. And obviously he would. Why wouldn't you? It's just weird, right? Oh, if I see it on Fox, yikes. And then from there, like dead set, I'm going to get away. Then I'm going to turn myself in. It just doesn't make sense. The guy can hit that shot from 200 yards away, but he doesn't know how to come up with a proper escape plan or anything like that. He doesn't want to be caught, but he left messages on the bullets and the gun is unique. You can buy a gun at like the corner store in the States. Whatever. Like I said, I'm not an investigator. I'm just reading the news and wondering why they're lying to me. So from there, let's go to dad. While this freak is joining us online, scrolling through things with us, his dad's online, also reading about the news. And as we read here in the messages, his dad's diehard MAGA from Utah, and he's Mormon. The guy probably loves Trump. And at this point, the dad's seeing that Charlie Kirk is dead. He's seeing the posts probably from Trump on Truth Social talking about how heartbroken he is and how great Charlie is. And he's probably like, oh, them fucking left wingers, you know what I mean? Look what they did to this country. And then the video comes out and he sees the silhouette and the image of who they think might have done it. And I'm sure his heart went straight to his asshole. Not only did your son probably commit a heinous act, he took the life of somebody who's a dear friend of your hero. And not just your hero and your president. And not just your hero and your president who's the head of some enormous cult of which you are a subscriber known as MAGA. And all of MAGA is livid right now. And you are probably ready to jump on that bandwagon and get livid with them and, get the tar and feathers. And then it turns out it was your kid? Dad and some sort of pastor, youth pastor, something, get together and they perp walk him. After he saw the picture online that the news media was circulating, he messages his wife. He says, hey man, does that look familiar? And she's like, that's our Tyler. And then dad is like, hey Tyler, where's the gun? Grandpa wants it. Grandpa's not looking for the gun. Dad's looking for the gun and he's praying. You're going to say, oh, I left it in some case somewhere so you can go and find it and just say, thank God. But you're making all these bullshit excuses and he's not picking up his phone. He knows he's losing it. Anyhow, Tyler makes it off campus. I don't know how, There should have been security at this event that was tighter than what it was. And I feel like every time something like this happens, people are like, oh, we got to beef up security places. And then just forget about it. I digress. He made it off campus. The dad and the pastor worked together to convince little Tyler, turn yourself in, and then they perp walk him over to jail themselves. Then after the parents turn him in, the girlfriend is cooperating with FBI and everybody, showing them messages like, here it is, the note. We didn't see the note. There's a picture of the note, but the note's been destroyed. Okay, whatever. So she's like, the note's out. She's like, here it is. Here's everything. And Kash Patel, who is the head of the FBI, bizarre looking fellow who got the job by writing a children's book. I kid you not. A children's book where Trump is a king. So that's Kash Patel. He has a photo op and pretends it's a press release. And then he's like, wants to have his little Obama moment. Like, we got him. You didn't get him. It was the second time they're having to say anything because, as you know, they had arrested some guy who was screaming, oh, shoot me, it was me. And we're going to get into him because that is another rabbit hole. That guy is sus. And of course, there was another guy there with a rifle, with an air rifle or something, running around, similar build. So they got the guy a few times, and people were dragging Kash Patel. But then finally has this moment like, we got him, just awards the W to the FBI and the local police. Like, hey man, yep, this was us. We did it. Record time, 36 hours. Didn't break a sweat. His dad drove him there. So I guess what we could credit the FBI and the police with is their absolute vigilance in being available to take the call when the family solved the murder and reported it. Good job to them. There's also the factor of the award that's on the table. There was a reward announced pretty quickly. Like, they wanted to find this guy. This is Charlie Kirk, okay? He's beloved by a lot of right-wing people, millions, and they're already mad, okay? Like, they just woke up mad, okay? They hate the country right now. Then he went ahead and killed their white knight. So people were out for blood. Like, they wanted him now. People were contributing to a fund, like, I'll give you this much money if you give us any information that leads to the arrest. And the pool was at like 100K and growing. And then in comes Bill Ackman and dumps $1 million on that. Okay, Bill, he had dinner with Charlie like once, like right before he died too. So, okay, maybe he just did it out of the goodness of his heart. Bill Ackman, if the name is familiar to you, he was the one who insisted that the president of Harvard get fired because she didn't censor her students on campus when they wanted to protest in support of Palestine. And then when that didn't work, he went ahead and found some incorrect or missing quotation marks and stuff in citations that she had submitted for her dissertation and accused the woman of plagiarizing, even though it was whatever. It was technically plagiarism. Fine. And then the whole world turned on his wife because she had plagiarized way worse. That is Bill Ackman. So he dumps $1 million on this. Super generous, Bill. Who gets that money now? I looked that up. I was like, who's going to get this money? And there was some talk about, well, technically, if he did it and the dad is the one that reported him, we don't want to disincentivize people from snitching. So obviously, if he meets the qualifications, then we'll have no choice but to give him the money. Okay, fine. Just another thing to sprinkle onto this super duper official story. Let's move on now to the reactions. The reactions that came out of right-wing America were crazy. You could not have predicted how far they would go. Or maybe you could have, I don't know. At this point, maybe you could have. But we're talking deportations, arrests, firings, and probably the scariest, a list of people who are going to be named or who they want to name co-conspirators to the murder for tweeting and TikToking mean things about Charlie Kirk after he died. I just want to repeat that. The man passed in a violent and awful way. People who live in America, land of the free, home of the brave, First Amendment, went online and said whatever they wanted to say. Some of it is stuff that you will absolutely disagree with. Some of it is stuff that you will find funny. It doesn't, that's not the point. Depends on who you are. We're not here to talk, to quibble morality. I would not have posted videos of me dancing that somebody died. You know, if I really felt that way, I'd probably just do a jig in my living room and call it that. But we live in a world where these kids can't do a thing unless it's online. I saw a video where a lesbian couple had taken a DNA test because they just looked too similar and then went live to announce the results, and they were related. You couldn't beat that out of me. Like, you could send me to Azkaban. I'm still not saying what happened if that were me. These kids do everything online. And so a lot of kids went online and started dancing a jig, doing a jig. Ha, he's gone. Serves him right. Fuck him, blah, blah. It's distasteful, but is it criminal? It better not be. Because I recall how Republicans were acting when a series of bad things were happening to Democratic leaders, getting threats, getting beat up in their own home, viciously attacked, beaten within an inch of their lives, and then a whole family murder. Like, I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene posting with a gun after it was reported that a Democrat was shot. I saw Trump throwing paper towels at devastated Puerto Ricans. The man is being... Why did I even start with those things? He got convicted of rape. So there is this fake outrage that has spread like a wildfire online. Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, was like one of the first people to tweet about this and immediately started to just hijack the death and make it a publicity tour for Israel. It was gross. Charlie loved Israel. You know, Israel was everything to him. But dude, settle down. Charlie Kirk, a lot of Canadians might also know him because he was pro-annexing our country. And I'm not saying this to disparage him. I'm not going to America, so I'm not worried about my visa getting revoked or whatever, but I'm not disparaging the guy. I'm just saying what he said. He punked Justin Trudeau on Twitter. He said Canada should be part of America. He supported that idea. Could you imagine for a second if Mark Carney went on TV and was like, you know, I had a meeting with Charlie Kirk and it turns out he changed his mind about the Canada thing and, you know, all his talk about sovereignty and borders and stuff. I know that he wouldn't have wanted us to get... That would be so revolting. What? Like immediately after. And then he went on the news, like Fox News, twice, talking about Charlie Kirk. Fine. Maybe he just really liked him. You know, Charlie Kirk was a huge Israel supporter, and they don't have that many. So maybe they're just really sad to see such an important voice go. I don't know, though. This whole thing just stinks. We're going to end it there, but we will be posting more about this. There's just honestly too much to cover in one video. And quite frankly, we do not have a computer that can handle that kind of processing. So we will be putting out some more videos. Subscribe so that we can put out some longer videos and get those kinds of computers. Bred in Captivity, out.